I did keep a log of almost probably half of the memory palaces that I've created. I've written them down just so I can try to gain long-term memory access. I mean, there are some memory palaces that I've just never written down, but I remember them because it was so incongruent. But basically, I've went through all the cards already, so I have time to just... Today, I'll just leisurely make cards specifically just for memory palaces. So I'm going to name this deck All Memory Palaces. Okay, and so I have on my other monitor all of the some of the memory palaces that I've made, and I'm going to place them into here. And what you want to do is not to specifically name the area, because I guess that would be cheating, right? I mean, not cheating, but it would force you to recall information just based on that area, and that's not what I really want to do. In general, you want to be able to gain recall of information. So what I'm going to do specifically is to type down a prompt question for us to basically answer. So for example, I made a memory palace of my old house, specifically in my old room. So in this question, I'm going to ask, what are amino acids used for? No. Amino acids are used to synthesize what? And I'm going to say how many factors? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 products. 4 types of products. So that's my prompt. And the answers are going to be nitrogenous compounds, proteins, and just to tell you guys before you guys keep watching this video, I want to say that this is not safe for work, so please do not watch if you're at work, or I don't know. This is I'm going to state a lot of inappropriate content. I probably won't, actually. There's a lot of inappropriate content, but that's solely for the purpose of remembering the material. I'm sure many of you guys are using a lot of mnemonics that may or may not be inappropriate, but is useful in assisting you to memorize the concepts. There's dark humor. There's a lot of stuff that are useful, but may be offensive to certain individuals. So just to say beforehand that I apologize ahead of time. But I don't think I'll be stating any inappropriate content. Anyways, ketone bodies and glucose. So amino acids are used to synthesize these 4 factors. So I'm going to close that, and I'm going to specifically just insert an image. Okay? This image is going to help me, but not to you guys. Before I continue on, I probably want to go through the memory palace. So in my memory palace, I'm running to my room to make stuff. Okay? So this is what indicates that I should be thinking about amino acids and what is it used to synthesize what. So I'm running, and as I'm running, I'm farting, and You know, the farting will indicate, well, not farting, but think of like a turbo from a vehicle. I would call it a nitro. You know, nitro would be a turbo substance, and I'm using nitro as I'm running towards my room. And as I'm running, I'm kind of like running like a Titan from Attack on Titan. And you know, their gait is a little weird in that they like kind of swing their arms around and their legs around while they're running. And so as I'm doing this, I'm using nitro, and nitro would indicate nitrogenous compounds. Okay? And I'm running thinking that I'm Bolt. Okay? And thinking that I'm Bolt, I feel like I'm a professional track runner. So pro will indicate proteins. Now, I use the key to open my door. So the key will indicate the ketone bodies. Now, in my room is waiting, what's waiting for me in my room is a cake. And the cake will contain, you know, glucose. It can contain carbohydrates. So it would indicate glucose. These are the 4 factors. And this is one part of my room. That's the Titan, by the way. Okay, so that's my first. Alright, let's go on to the next one. So, this is the major system. In order. Actually, no. Let me see. Name all numbers of the major system and their letter associations. Okay? So 0 is going to indicate S, C, C. 1 is going to indicate... Wait. I hope I remember. 1? I know 1 is a pogo stick. Okay, I'm just going to stop right here just so I can try to remember. Okay, it's T. T, T, D, or TH. Okay, number 2 would be... By the way, I very much recommend that everyone remember the major system. The major system is used to help you remember associations of numbers to their letters, and if you permanently remember these associations, they can help you remember and create mnemonics, and then place those mnemonics into palaces. So, for example, if we look at number 2, I think of 2 Nigerian princesses, and so that's why I would remember N. Number 3, I remember the mouth. Number 4, I remember R. I hope it's R. Yes, it's R. Alright, 5 would be L. 6 would be G, J, soft G. That's all I know. But it's also soft CH. I'm not going to use CH. I'm going to leave that out. You don't have to include everything from the major system, but as long as you have something from for each letter, for each number, you're kind of set for optimal learning, really. I mean, I guess it's always the best if you remember everything, but just remember what you think that what you actually remember. Because odds are that you're not going to use every single one of these components every day. And of course, there's always a different way to remember something. Okay, so 7 would be K, C, KillCam. And what else? There's something else here that was also included. It's also a hard G. I'm going to probably not include that, just so I won't mix it up with this. Alright, number 8 would be FV. Think of F as the F word and V as vapor. 9 would be PB, the pub. And that's it. That's all. So these are what I remember inherently. Okay, so I'm going to post an image of my full story system. Please, I just want to say beforehand that this is not safe for work. It has content that is inappropriate, so you can pause the video to check it out, but you don't have to. You can make your own full story. But if you want to use mine, you feel free to. There you go. Alright, next one is live attenuated vaccines. So the first thing I think about is smallpox. Next one would be rabies. Next one would be, let me think. So we got rabies, we got, I'm doing this in sequential order, in a linear sequence. So I know I can recall all of this really quickly, but I'm going to do it in the order of my storyline. So we got smallpox first, we got rabies first, we got yellow fever. Okay. Next up we got polio. Next up we got measles, mumps, and rubella. We got rotavirus. I hope that's right. Let me see. Okay, I spelled it wrong. Rotavirus. Varicella for chickenpox. Rotavirus is diarrhea. Next up would be TB. Well, actually, the vaccine would specifically be GHB or something. I forgot. I'll just say TB for now. Actually, let's search it up. Sorry. BC. So it's. Okay. So Bacille camate-guerin. So these are all the live attenuated vaccines. Do that. Okay, so here's another full story. Next up we got TRP receptors. TRP V, wait, is it V1? Yes. V1 capsaicin Okay, and it would be kind of the threshold for pain. VT heat. TRP V2 would be most pain from extreme heat. TRP V3 will indicate just warm. I think of it as warm. TRP V4, it's like body temperature. TRP V8, no, M8. Is that cool? TRP A1 would be extremely cold. So this is what I remember without, you know, without having to try to research anything. This is what I remember, and there you go. Here's my storyline. I hope the storyline might help you. This is based on an Overwatch game. Okay. Next up, we got Urea cycle. From the beginning. No, I'll just say Urea cycle. So we start off with I think it's a C. Yes. Okay. Acetyl-CoA plus N acetyl. Sorry. Glutamate to make N acetyl glutamate. And then phosphate with 2 ATP. Okay. And after that, we make let's see. Arginine would induce carbonyl phosphate to be produced by using 2 ATP from N-acetyl glutamate. And so after that, we will probably make citrulline. I think we're making citrulline, but let me check really quick. Okay, so with ornithine from the urea cycle, we make citrulline. the cytosol, citrulline with aspartate will make arginosuccinate. Fumarate and arginine are produced using lyase. Actually, I don't know if lyase is used, but I should check. Yes, that's right. We use lyase to create arginine and fumarate, and then arginine using arginase to make urea plus to make urea. I hope that's right. Arginase and water to make urea. Yep, that's right. Okay. Now, I know all of this already, but I just wanted to make sure because I'm actually making the Anki card. I'm not going to show the content because I think it is extremely inappropriate. But let's continue on. Alright, so now we have cell cycle, regulation, this is my video. Today I'm going to show you the cell cycle. I did, learn about the cell cycle many years ago. Aerial DNA content from 2N to 4N. So I'm coming in. All right. I'm synthesizing. All right. Cool. And this may take like 12 hours actually. Synthesis phase typically takes around 10. And the length of my DNA, the CDK regulator. Alright, let's begin. So I'm going to be walking in, right? Walking in, and then I start off my G1 phase right here. Okay. So as I'm walking through this G1 phase, I'm growing, right? I'm increasing in mass. The length of my DNA content, the length of my DNA varies, and then I'm going to reach this checkpoint. So I'm putting a checkpoint right here. Okay. And at this checkpoint, I'm checking to see if everything's good. If I can go into the synthesis phase, so that I can change my DNA content from 2N to 4N. So I'm coming in. All right. I'm synthesizing. All right. Cool. And this may take like 12 hours. Synthesis phase typically takes around 10 to 12 hours. So I guess I fall asleep too. So that when I wake up, I grew fatter actually. I grew fat. So my DNA content changed from 2N to 4N. Remember that. Okay. Now I'm leaving the synthesis phase.
And now
G2.
I'm moving down this white line into the G2 phase. The G2 phase, remember, has the DNA content of 4N. Okay. As I'm moving, I'm just using the mass again. Okay, and now I have a checkpoint again. Alright, there's 3 checkpoints. So this is the second one. This is the checkpoint for me to make sure that I'm okay with entering the end phase, which is the mitotic phase. The mitotic phase is a phase in which we have prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and that's a telophase? Yeah, it's a and inside of phase 6, of course. So I'm coming in, alright, after the checkpoint, and I am doing this for 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour, I'm basically dividing, right? I'm dividing my DNA content, I'm splitting and segregating my cells from 4N to 2N. Okay, so I'm splitting up, okay, I'm replicating this to make 2N, so 2 cells, each having 2N. So basically, there's 2 of these. There's 2 Soldier 76 coming out. And remember, before I transition from metaphase to anaphase, I put a check right here to make sure everything's okay for me to split open and go through cytokinesis so that I can leave out this phase as 2 Soldier 76. Hey, there's 2 of me. What's up, man? I shake my hands with him. Alright. So remember, there's 3 checkpoints. There's the G phase, and yeah. So at these checkpoints, there's going to be some proteins that kind of tell the cycle what to do. All right, because if we make so much, it's going to indicate like this is dysregulated. Okay, and to remember CDK, well, I see the defensive kaleidoscope. I call this the defensive kaleidoscope. So I'm seeing this defensive kaleidoscope, hence CDK. Okay? And so this is the defensive kaleidoscope in the center. Okay? And what surrounds it is a molecule that cycles around it. So I call that the cyclin. The cyclin surrounds the CDK, right? And it forms a complex, as you can see here. And you know, it continues on regulating, right? And it starts to inhibit the checkpoints if P27 binds to it. Now, P27, how can I remember P27? First of all, if you remember this map clearly, you know, if you kind of observe this map, take your time to go into the game and look at the map. So you'll see that there's 2 moons right here, right? There's 2 moons. So that's how you remember number 2. And the P, well, look at me. At certain checkpoint right here, another checkpoint will be open.
Okay, so this was my video on the cell cycle. I did want to look at it again just to make sure I have the information that I need. This memory palace basically explained the gist of cell cycle and the regulation that occurs. And so this is basically a brief summary. I wouldn't say just rely on this for your exams in college, especially, but this would be a good summary. And then, like, for any other additional piece of information, I wouldn't recommend to add into the memory palace. I would just recommend to logically deduce why those extra pieces of information may be important for whatever you're learning. So this was pretty easy, actually. Okay, so I finished that. I'm going to leave that out. Alright, so let's continue on. We have base excision repair. Now what we want to remember is that this is involved with kind of like a mutation that occurs just due to... Actually, let's look at the video I made. I think it's easier for me to just show you the video.
I am going to show you my memory journey into Overwatch. Now, actually, this person here, there's a person here named Widowmaker. Widowmaker is just laying down here, chilling, right? But out of nowhere, I'm coming in, I'm doing this, right? I ruined her day because this is like kind of an X-ray kind of situation in which I basically accidentally mutated her DNA, right? And you know, when your DNA gets mutated, it can change from cytosine into uracil, right? And in DNA, you don't want uracil, so your DNA is going to try to do something called the base excision repair. And base excision repair has several order of mechanisms that occurs. So there's a series of events that occur, and I'm going to tell you everything from step one. So first, I told you that I kind of mutated her DNA by accident. Okay, so her cytosine at one point of her DNA strand turned into uracil. I need to change that back into cytosine. So how do you do it? Okay, so I'm going to throw in a glycoball. This is called a glycoball. Okay, that glycoball is going to push that uracil out of her body. Okay, UC. U will be thrown out by glycoball, and glycoball will indicate glycosylates. If you look at that first step, and indicate it in the yellow box. Okay, so uracil DNA glycosylates will be used to delete U out of the equation. Okay, now we don't have the uracil anymore. Now we need to remove the sugar backbone. Okay, and how do we remove the sugar backbone? By using my shield to throw away that sugar. Shield, sugar, so shield right now. So I deleted that shield, that sugar out of the way with using my shield. And now I need to remove the phosphate at the same time. So I'm throwing out the shield and the phosphate at the same time, like this. I'm sorry. This, and then that teleporter there, I just placed it there. And so remember that this shield removes the sugar backbone using AP endonuclease. To remember that it is endonuclease, well, AP, you can think of like ability power, so I'm throwing out an ability power, AP. And endonuclease, I'm basically in and house, so endo, right? And nucleus, I think we're kind of in like a homey kind of place that basically looks like a nucleus somehow. I know it's kind of a stretch. It looks like a power nucleus. I don't know. It kind of resembles a nucleus. That's a bit of a stretch, but basically I'm using a shield, I'm taking out that sugar backbone, and this teleporter here is going to be taking in negative energy. And guess what? Phosphate is a negatively charged molecule. So phosphate is going to enter that teleporter. So we basically remove that whole section of your DNA strand. So we remove the sugar, the uracil, and the phosphate. Now what's left to do? Seal that nick. And in order to seal that nick, we don't have any more of the journey to continue, because typically DNA polymerase will come in, add the new nucleotide, and then DNA ligase will seal the nick. That is something that happens in many mechanisms, so we don't have to continue on with the journey. All we have to know is that as we enter this room, we accidentally mutated the character, Widowmaker, right? And she's like, what the heck? You're gonna have to treat me now. And so I'm going to throw a glycoball, right? The glycoball is going to remove the uracil, right? by the use of an enzyme called glycosylase, right? Glycosylase is going to remove it, and then we're going to be continuing on by throwing the shield too. So we're going to move.
So that's my video on how to remember the basic excision repair through the game called Overwatch. It was not incongruent enough for me to remember, but I think I've repeated this process elaboration to the point where I pretty much remember what basic excision repair does in each step, and I can recall the steps because it would make sense that we would want to get rid of a mutation and then refill that mutation using AP endonuclease phosphodiesterase, and then we use, last but not least, the DNA polymerase to add the neonucleotides, and then ligase to seal that nick in the DNA strand. Okay, next up we have the three main brain structures and what they consist of.
And when you decide on a map and human intelligence as well. So, I don't know, looking at Winston, you can notice that he has glasses. So, he kind of resembles Beastman from X-Men. Where, all of the senses are basically enhanced. Everything is enhanced. And you can imagine Winston here, right? He's jumping up like this, and in slow motion. This is a place where game fights occur. 5v5. And Winston's jumping up in the air, deciding on who to kill. It starts going crazy. He's like, whoa. But he's really smart. Everything's enhanced. And when I say everything enhanced, I mean the cerebrum. He's pro at all of his senses, involving the temporal lobe, the frontal lobe, the occipital lobe, as well as the parietal lobe. Basically, all four lobes. Okay, so the forebrain is enhanced, and that's how we remember the protocephalon. Okay, and so he's fighting, right? He's trying to kill everybody. Okay, and then he ends up over here trying to kill that last person, and then bam, he gets sniped. He gets sniped by Widowmaker, which is all the way over there. Very, very accurate headshot. Okay, I get killed on the floor. It's dramatic. There's kill cam, and in the kill cam, right? I was first person point of view. Now in the kill cam, you'll see Mercy over there. Okay, Mercy is the Nani, and she suddenly comes to my rescue and tries to revive me. Right. So when this occurs, her Tectum is being enhanced, and the Tectum is in the mesocephalon. It would make sense for Mercy to try to come to me to revive her, right? And so her Tectum and Tegmentum are enhanced. And what makes her Tegmentum enhanced as well is that as she is reviving me, she is deliberately enhancing her visual as well as her auditory senses and her substantia nigra to dodge all of the shots that Widowmaker is trying to get at Mercy. Widowmaker is constantly trying to kill. Widowmaker is constantly trying to kill Mercy, and so substantia nigra, Tectum, and Tegmentum are enhanced. It would make sense for Mercy to try to revive her, hence mesocephalon. Now, she's trying to revive me, but she can't really revive me while dodging all of the shots that Widowmaker, is trying to do. Widowmaker is trying to snipe her the whole time. And so, what makes her substantia nigra enhanced is that, she's moving like this, that. She definitely doesn't have any tremors. She knows what she has to do accurately, right? While trying to revive me. But now she got pissed. Mercy is pissed. She cannot revive me. So she runs up.
Okay, so that's my video on the three main brain structures just through this big memory palace in Overwatch. I did do a lot of elaboration on this. I kind of like this memory palace specifically because there were some exaggerations in which we kind of summon a Bentley vehicle to hit Widowmaker, and Widowmaker as a result will lose her balance, which will indicate cerebellum, and basically she will lose vital functions, which will indicate functions of the medulla, and then she will fall asleep as a result, indicating pons. So there's a lot of elaboration here, and I do encourage you guys to watch the video if you guys are interested in learning the 3 main brain structures and the associations that they may have. Okay, so let's move on to the next one.
Or this is a continuation of the folate cycle. The folate cycle that occurred in Asian Mold in Overwatch, where Lucio is played as the main character. He noticed, homosexuals here, looking at making folate from.
Okay, so not safe for work. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is offensive in some way, but I basically used. Actually, probably not offensive. I'm just using some individuals who are homosexuals, right? And they're not having sex or anything like that. They're just cooking food. They're cooking food, they're making dinner, and then a person finds out that one of the homosexual significant other is cheating on them, and so there's this big chaos that it results.
B12. But anyways, if you look at my previous videos involving the folate cycle, you'll see what I'm talking about.
So feel free to watch the video. I'm not going to continue the video because there's actually more inappropriate content than I numbered. I just realized there's some more content here that was inappropriate. I'm just not going to show the rest of the video. You are free to just go back onto the previous videos and check it out. I'm not going to continue here. Frosted. So the question here is going to be let's see. Name okay. Name the by observing what I'm doing right now, you can see how I make Anki cards in general. I think the close technique is the strongest technique in Anki as of right now. There's also a close overlapper, I did make tutorials on these on the Anki guide tutorial series, so if you guys are interested in learning how to use these techniques, I recommend to watch those videos, and they're just like 1-minute videos. Try to make it short and simple. So electron acceptors, would it be an acid or base? I'm trying to just not look at the screen and try to remember what it would be before I answer it. So electron acceptors would be yeah, I would think it would be an acid. Let me see, let me check if it's right. Yep, it's an acid. And then the other one you can assume it would be a base. So I would do that. Alright. Okay, so we finished with that. Let's move on to the next story. This was one of the hard ones. So I basically use these molecules here to help me. Well, I want to associate the molecules. Sorry. I am associating these molecules in drawn format with the actual structures names. This is actually a little hard for me to make a memory palace for, but I did try in this case. It's a little weird, not safe for work. I'm just going to show the video while typing.
I'm going to show you a memory lane that I came up with. This is not safe for work, not appropriate, so if you guys don't want to memorize things inappropriately, please don't watch this video. If you do want to memorize these molecules in my own way, you can use Overwatch, and in Overwatch, my memory is a little, my sense of, my techniques are a little odd, but it may or may not help you. So I'm in Volskaya industry in Overwatch, right? And I am torture. Okay, torture. I'm pretty big. I'm a big person, right? And so, you know, imagine this place. This is the middle of the middle of the area, right? If you kind of visualize this in your head, walking slowly.
Okay, so I decided that I'm not going to make Anki cards based off of this. I think I will in the future, but for now I will probably skip this section because I think this kind of stuff requires repetitive Anki use. As what Anthony Medavir would say, using blunt force is sometimes necessary because you can't make memory palaces for everything. I mean, you can make memory palaces for everything, but it would be too time consuming. So I decided to disregard this whole memory palace. Even though I spent a lot of time on it, it's not helping me remember any of this. Okay, let's move on.
And so you can, bam, I slammed into the...
Alright, so this is one of the memory palace journeys that I'm very proud of. I've memorized almost every single physics formula for the MCAT. Now, just because I memorize it doesn't mean I know how to use them. So I need to take the time to actually learn the concepts, and that's what my MCAT courses are for. But I do want to just try to memorize the formulas so that I can kind of feel ahead when the professors are like kind of telling us why we need to use this formula and stuff. I already know the formula. I know. I just need to know how to use it, how to plug in what piece of information into what, and that will help me figure out what I need to do for the MCAT. I was told that people tend to just skip physics in general because it is not very significant in the MCAT, but there are passages involving physics. But a lot of students will just rather just guess. I'm going to try to be the one that doesn't guess. Well, at least if I'm guessing, I would make a very, very educated guess. Physics is definitely not my strong suit, but it's very interesting when you start to memorize and start to understand why we are using these formulas. So I'm going to start the video. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We're just going to watch probably 5 minutes while I'm making the cards.
So I start off with Tracer. Tracer is a very fast person. She defies the laws of physics because she basically rewinds time, goes forward, and basically skips time as she moves forward. You see, and because she does that, I think of her as the main person for physics. So she's going through motions, okay, and in the physics formula, we're not going to define any physics, okay? So motion, in regards to motion, we memorize the 5 kinematic equations. This is something you should already know already, just by taking physics 1 in high school or in college. So it's background knowledge, so I don't have a way to memorize it. It's just through repetition. And then moving on, we have force is equal to ma. So Tracer is going to go to the first checkpoint, right? And this is one of the main objects in our memory class, okay? And so I came from over here, right? I'm just going. And I know that just like the Flash, when you accelerate and punch something, the force will be greater. But it will be greater on one side. So, for example, Tracer, I'm going to go really fast, right? And mass can affect force as well, mass or acceleration. And so as I'm going really fast, bam, I slam into the bell right here, right? And basically, I might get hurt because the density of my body versus the density of this bell is very different. So, 6.63. So he's walking again, like a Grinch. So that's what indicates 6 again. And then 3 is associated with the mouth. It's basically him tripping over the table and falling and slamming his mouth onto the side of the table. So that's 6.63. Now, what's the next step? Well, he is basically swooshing the table, and he basically uses his mouth so he can push the table and get back to the same position. And in order to do that, I think of it as it's like an exponential amount of power associated. Basically cutting the card through the card in a very thin surface, in the thin aspect of the card. Okay? So he's splitting the card like this. So this is the sword. He's splitting this card like this. So he's splitting the card in half, very, very towards us, and get hit by his spell. Okay? And so you can imagine Tracer just falling down as a result of this, getting hurt, immediately my hand gets smushed, my head gets smushed. And then I come back, right? And as I'm going back, to go back to hit this bell again, I initially actually ran into this, and as I ran into this, the bell basically moved in a centrifugal motion, right? So what happens here? Well, the centrifugal force that it can exert as it moves involves several factors. First, the mass. It makes sense that the more mass this has, the more force it will have. When it inflicts its force into a person or anything really. So, for example, this bell's going to hit me with some force due to centrifugal force, okay? And in order for this to happen, looking at the formula on the left, you'll see force is equal to mass times velocity squared over radius. So how does this make sense to you? Well, in my story, you're going to see that mass is affected, right? That's something you just have to know. It just makes sense, right? And now what about velocity squared? Well, you know that this is moving in a certain velocity, okay? And what about squared? Squared is something you probably might need to remember because it doesn't make sense at all. So I'm going to make sure my story makes sense with the formula. So what I'm going to say is that velocity squared, so the word square, we're going to imagine a square box all the way up here, okay? And that square box is going to fall down and bang onto this side of the bell, causing velocity to increase exponentially. And that's what makes sense here. The square box fall down this, causing velocity to exponentially increase. And that is how I remember mass times velocity squared. Okay, now what about radius? It will also make sense that if the radius increases, right, the centrifugal force will probably decrease. Okay? This is because if the square falls down, right, the square box falls down, you wouldn't expect the bell to move as fast as if, compared to if the bell had a smaller radius. Okay? If the bell had a smaller radius, it would be more susceptible to becoming faster with the square pushing down onto the bell so that it can swing its motion. Okay? And so that's how we remember that the centrifugal force is equal to the mass times velocity squared over radius. Okay? And that centrifugal force, as I try to go back into it, right, it's going to, I go around, and the bell actually slammed into me, smashing my face, through my face, causing me to go all the way. I can basically shove this tool into your gut and then twist it. And how would that affect, what kind of physics formula would that affect? The factors that affect this fourth formula would be radius, so the radius of the actual tool multiplied by the force that I'm acting upon the body as I'm twisting it. So you can think of a monkey wrench like twisting around. I'm doing the same thing but with this overhand weapon into Tracer's abdomen, right? And I'm twisting the tool with the radius multiplied by the force in mind. Okay? And so that's torque. We got torque out of the way. And now I turn around, they're filming, right? But then when I turn around, they're not looking at me anymore. I'm like, wait, why aren't you looking at me? Actually, they're looking at a person up here called Widowmaker. Okay, Widowmaker is a character, a sniper, right? She has a grappling hook, okay? And basically what Widowmaker does, right at that place, I'm getting Widowmaker by the way. So what Widowmaker will be doing at that second floor is basically twerking. So everyone's like clapping their hands, oh wow, you're twerking, that's what we wanted, right? Twerking was asking people to twerk, right? And so Widowmaker, we can think of it as Rihanna. She looks like Rihanna actually. And if you guys remember the song Work, 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 from Rihanna, by Rihanna, you're going to see how we can connect that to the next part of our memory. So there's 3 formulas for work, I think there's more. So basically, I'm right here, I'm twerking, right? And I'm like, it's not fancy enough, let me get up there, okay? So I'm going up here, I say, okay, work, 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 who wants to work? And the audience says, freak that, or fuck that. So that's FD, right? Freak that cuz, so sometimes, work is equal to FD cosine theta, so that's why I say cuz. So freak that cuz, so FD cosine theta, so that's 1. Okay, I said, what, nobody wants to work? And then I go too into it, right? I go too into it, and then suddenly, I fell. So as I'm falling, right, the work can also equal to kinetic energy, and kinetic energy is basically the constant motion that happens. So basically the constant motion that occurs is when I'm falling downwards, okay? And everyone's like, whoa, she's coming to us, I want to poke her, her butt. Okay, this is not safe for work, I'm sorry. So the next part, so after kinetic energy is involved, right, there's another part where work is equal to pressure multiplied by the change in volume. So as I'm falling down, right, the filming crew comes towards me, right, and basically I fell down, I'm on the floor, I'm in a prone position, right, I'm in prone position, basically, and basically everyone is trying to press on my voluptuous butt, okay, so press as in pressure, voluptuous butt that can change over time. People can change the size of their butt through squats, so basically, they're pressing onto my, so imagine all these film crew just poking and pressing onto her butt. Everyone's doing it at the same time. And at a certain point, she just died because of that. This is an exaggeration, but yes, she dies as a result of the film crew poking on her butt, okay? All the way piercing through her butt cheek, destroying her organs, her internal organs, killing her. Now, what's going to happen as a result of this? Who will get triggered? What is the next trigger? Well, there's a character named Bane. Bane is a character from Batman, okay? And I think of Bane, I think this is the right name, but Bane is basically the character that has a lot of medications, like a lot of syringes around his body to make him stronger, right? So basically, Bane is like, can come from here, right? He's like, oh, we killed my girlfriend! Because Rihanna, the Widowmaker, is the girlfriend of Bane, okay? So Bane we can think of as the person of power. He is nothing but power, okay? So this is where power comes into the story. There's 3 formulas for power, or 4 actually. It's not shown here, but I'm going to tell you that power is equal to IV, right? Is equal to I squared R. Well, okay, let me tell you the variables actually. So power is equal to current times voltage, also equal to current squared times resistance, also equal to work over time, the change in work over the change in time, and it's also equal to voltage squared divided by resistance. Okay. It took me a little bit of time to go through that because I had to go through the memory journey pretty quickly. But anyways, Bane is over here. Okay. Bane is like the epitome of power. He's like, oh, kill my girlfriend. And so, he basically injected IV, current times voltage, into his body, causing him to increase in power. Basically, that's like a lot of steroids, right? It could be steroids. A lot of steroids. He's super powerful, and he's trying to destroy everyone, right? And in order to destroy everyone, we have to use the formula current squared times resistance. And how would that make sense? Well, we can think of 2 lifesavers, right? That Bane has, and basically Bane has 2 lifesavers that is full of electric current surging through those lifesavers, right? And so those lifesavers have currents. And so 2 lifesavers multiplied together would be current squared. Right? And resistance would make sense because he's resisting the film crew, right? The film crew is fighting Bane too, because Bane is trying to kill them too. And so 2 currents times resistance, right? Bane's just slash and dash, and then we go to the next part of the formula. So this is equal, power is equal to voltage divided by voltage squared divided by resistance. And so you can imagine Bane, just slashing, and then he gets tired. So my resistance is getting weaker. And then he starts doing this, right? And these 2 index fingers will represent voltage. So he basically has another ability where he produces electricity or voltage out of his index fingers, but it's so weak. So you can just imagine him, he's a weak guy, he's starting to be weak, he's just doing this. And basically voltage is coming out of both of his index fingers. And so that's voltage squared, okay? Because there's 2 voltage surge coming out of his index fingers. And this is over resistance because resistance is dramatically decreasing, okay? So over resistance. There's voltage squared over resistance. So oh, by the way, that's the end of the power formulas in this memory journey. If you guys want to know, I used work over time as power in a different memory palace. But I'm not going to talk about that now. And you continue with the journey. So you know that Bane has, this basically this 2 voltage squared over resistance, okay? And, that means the audience is like beating him up, and then you'll see that Bane is like kind of crouched up with this. He's getting scared. Then he realized that he shouldn't be relying on, external materials such as steroids or electricity. He should use what is from within. His internal energy. His internal energy is basically, so this is a formula, next formula. Internal energy, which is U, is equal to the heat inside him, right? His internal energy, which is inside. You can imagine heat building up, okay? This is plus or minus the actual, so heat plus what? Yes, so Q plus or minus work, okay? And so It's not over there, it's not shown here, but you can just search up on Google. Basically, internal energy is equal to Q plus or minus work. It depends on the system and surroundings, right? But basically, the heat which is found inside. And you can imagine if you zoom into his body, right? If you guys seen the TV show Osmosis Jones, you can probably assume that there's a lot of mini molecules inside his body working really hard. Like they look like they were working in the manufacturing industry, right? Just fixing up the pipes in his body, right? And they're working. So plus or minus work. Okay. And so as a result, he does this, and then everyone just starts getting flown. They start flying, right? And so Bane's like, okay, I'm free. Let me run over here, okay? He's running over here, and he uses a skateboard here. A penny board, actually, so it's really kind of funny. Because Bane's really big, but he's trying to get on a penny board, right? He's going on a penny board, right? He's going, and then this person right here is Superman, actually. Okay, but let's not talk about Superman. He's basically right now at this point, it's kind of funny that Bane is using a penny board or a skateboard, okay? He's using a skateboard to run away from the film crew and torch him, right? He's running. But when he uses a skateboard, there's some static friction, unfortunately. And so this is the next one. So static friction is equal to U multiplied by normal force. And how I remember that is that basically, when you think about static friction, what happens? Well, the skateboard on the floor is affected by static friction, right? And basically, you are imagining Bane, as he gets on the skateboard, he's putting on an umbrella, okay, at the same time. So he's trying to go about putting on an umbrella. And this is because it's raining notebooks right now. You can imagine there's a lot of notebooks just falling down. So U for umbrella, notebooks for normal force. And then it would make sense that, if the umbrella is closed, which is closer to zero, then the static friction, let's see, give me 1 second. Basically, if you change the variables around, you can make sense of how the static friction would change or fluctuate in regards to the umbrella closing and opening versus the notebook's capacity to fall down. The normal force is constant. It is the U, or the umbrella, which is the one that can change what occurs in real life in physics. Okay. And so basically, I'm going to do static force concept right now, but basically that's what happens with Bane. Right. So as a result, Bane kind of like almost falls down. So he's looking down, he's making sure he's trying to stay constant with his skateboarding skills, and then Superman's over here. Superman's like, stop, no, I will stop you now. You hurt many of these innocent people. It's time I stop you. And so Bane's like, he's not looking at Superman. He's like, oh, I'm about to fall. And bam, he slams into Superman. And instead of having inelastic collision, there's actually elastic collision. So you can imagine, Bane is basically flown all the way over there, like right out that door, while Superman's actually flying through, getting knocked back, him through that building all the way back to base. This is elastic collision. So he's like basically flying all the way over there. Boom. Okay. And so that's what happens with elastic collision. And then the next part is I'm basically conveying a character. Basically, what happens next is that while Bane is being flown back to that certain door, you'll notice that Symmetra is right behind Bane. And Symmetra is a person that basically tries to troll. We don't think of Symmetra as a troll, okay? Typically Symmetra is trolling Overwatch, anyways. But this is more of a troll. She's trolling more than usual. This is because she's planning to use her teleporter, right? But her teleporter is placed in a weird place. So remember Bane's over there, right? And before Bane flew over there, Symmetra's like, whoa! She moves her left, right? She's like, whoa! Okay, I'm going to run away from this situation, alright? I'm just going to go all the way over here. Okay? I'm just going to try to place my teleporter over here, okay? And the reason why I'm placing my teleporter over here is so that people can, when they use the teleporter, they'll end up being flown to the floor, to the sea. This is the sea, by the way. I don't want to think of it as multiple trees. Okay, so this is the sea, the bikini bottom. We're going to be using SpongeBob out there. But anyways, at this teleporter, right? You're going to notice a person named Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate is a League of Legends character that was right here, right? He noticed the teleporter over there. So he has an instinct to try to destroy the teleport. He's in the opponent team, right? He's trying to destroy the teleport, right? He's like, whoa! And Twisted Fate is known for having cards, like magic cards, because he's a magician. And he uses cards, he implements magic into his cards, and throws it at the teleport so he can destroy the teleport. But as he's throwing the cards, there's another person named Genji's over here, right? Genji is Symmetra's teammate, and basically Genji's trying to block the sword from going through the teleport. But he couldn't. But the only thing he could do right now is to, but basically Genji, what he does, is basically splits the card in half. Not in symmetrical half. Well, yeah, in symmetrical half. Not like cutting the card like that, but basically cutting the card through the card in a very thin surface, in the thin aspect of the card. Okay, so he's splitting the card like this. So this is the sword. He's splitting this card like this. So he's splitting that card in half. It's very, very thin, right? And what makes it so weird is that basically when Genji slashes the card, he splits it in half. And so one half will be going downwards like that, and the other half is still going straight, right? And the one going straight is powerful, it's more powerful. And we can think of it as going the speed of light. So now we're thinking about the index of refraction, okay? And we can think of Twisted Fate holding index cards. And he's throwing those index cards, Genji's slashing it in half, and then you'll notice that two cards are being split, right? I mean, the card is being split into two, okay? And the card that's going straight still, through the teleporter, is basically going through the index of refraction, right? And so index of refraction is basically, it's basically the speed of light in the medium versus the speed of the medium in a vacuum. So the index of refraction is the speed of light in a vacuum over the speed of the medium in a vacuum. And so this would make sense because so remember the two cards that resulted from the card being split? Well, the card going straight is the speed of light, and the speed of light card is basically over the other card going downwards like this, as the speed of the unknown medium in a vacuum. Okay. And so the speed of light card is still continually going through the teleport, and as it's going through the teleport, there's another actor here named Winston. Winston is a smart gorilla. Okay. He's looking at it, he's like, whoa, he's putting the card through the teleport. I wonder how that would occur in magnification. So he's got a magnifying glass, right? He's looking through the teleport, right? So he's trying to look at an image of the index card, okay? And the magnification of the image is defined as the negative image distance of the image versus over the distance of the object, okay? And to remember this, Winston here is just looking through the magnifying glass into the teleporter, okay? The teleporter, if I didn't say this already, I'm going to say this now. The teleporter typically, I would think of it as absorbing negative energy. So as it absorbs negative energy, we can assume that every formula associated, well, most of the formula associated with the teleporter is the actual, is negatives, okay? So we're going to use a negative formula here. And the magnification formula is a negative formula. And the formula is negative, and then negative distance of the image over distance of the object. So I'm looking at the image through the teleporter first. And then I look around the teleporter to see the distance between the teleporter and the actual object. So I'm looking at the image distance first over the distance of the object. Okay? Negative. This is negative. That's negative. Okay? And so the next part is we're doing actually coming out of nowhere right behind Winston saying, everyone knows that the optics formula is actually, the optic formula is actually 1 over f is equal to 1 over o plus 1 over I. That's something I already know. So there's, if you don't know it already, it's going to be some mental effort. Okay? And so Winston said, oh, I agree, but my formula is also correct. And so we're making theories, right? But as we're making theories, right, we have to take into consideration that that card is still going through the teleporter, and it went through the teleporter and it's still here, right? It's a gold card, okay? That speed of light card has a lot of power, right? It's going through the teleporter, and it's right. Winston saying, everyone knows that the optics formula is actually, the optic formula is actually 1 over f is equal to 1 over o plus 1 over I. That's something I already know. So there's, if you don't know it already, it's going to be some mental effort, okay? And so Winston said, oh, I agree, but my formula is also correct. And so we're making theories, right? But as we're making theories, right, we have to take into consideration that that card is still going through the teleporter, and it went through the teleporter and it's still here, right? It's a gold card, okay? That speed of light card has a lot of power, right? It's going through the teleporter, and it's right here, right? And as it's going through the air right here, I am fair, right? I'm a character capable of flying, so I'm right here, I saw the card, and I'm thinking, let me go get that card. So I flew over there, right? And I picked the card that was right here, okay? I grabbed the card, and then I suddenly am full of energy, okay, as a result of that. And as I have all that energy, I'm going to release Hell's Fire. Hell's Fury is going to be unleashed as a result of me grabbing that card, okay? So the formula is energy is equal to HF, or Hell's Fury, okay? And basically my Hell's Fury is my ultimate, but my ultimate is not showing up yet. Basically I'm just like doing a collage of missiles, right? Showing everyone on my sites, okay? So that's energy is equal to HF, or H stands for Planck's constant, and F stands for frequency, okay? And how do we make more connections here? Easy. We're going to move and merge into a new memory pass. This is the function. I'm changing another memory pass. So remember that I'm unlocking Hell's Fury, right? As I'm unlocking Hell's Fury, we have to remember what is the constant for Planck's constant, which is H, okay? And when I hear the word Planck's constant, I'm thinking, that's Planck right there, that's all Planck. And so, as I'm doing this exactly, you'll see that under me, right, the bikini bottom, you're going to see Planck all the way down there saying to Vera, yeah, you unleashed Hell's Fury onto them. I am so evil, right? That's a terrible laugh, by the way. But anyways, now we're going to shift into another memory pass. We're going to be observing Plankton in its own habitat, in the chum bucket. Okay, so I have a map of the chum bucket right now, okay? So this is the chum bucket. You'll see Plankton right there. If you want to zoom in, I can, right? So over here, you're going to see Plankton. It says, oh, look, Hell's Fury, so we know that E is equal to HF. And now the next formula that we're going to be looking at is, let's see, let me try to go through this screen. So Plankton basically says, unleash Hell's Fury, and then he starts walking, right? And then he realizes, like, as he's walking, there's a wall here, right? So he's like, okay, let me walk over here. Oh, actually, no, sorry. He's walking, right? And there's a wall over here out of nowhere. It just came up, I don't know why. So he walked, he stopped, and then he turned left, he walked again, and then he slammed his mouth into the table. Right? And then after he slams his mouth into the table, he basically smooches the table so that he can revertically come back into his normal standing stance. Right? And then the tinfoil gets on himself. Now, why does that make sense in the next one I'm thinking about? Well, we have to know Planck's constant. Planck's constant is, if I recall correctly, based on whatever I'm seeing now. He's walking, he stops, he turns left, and when he's walking, basically he's walking like a Grinch, okay? And the Grinch is associated with number 6. Okay? Number 6, right? Number 6, point 6, 3, something, 1 second. Okay, yes. 6.63 times 10 to the negative 34. Okay, and I remember this because it took me a little bit of time because I feel a little stressed thinking about this. But basically, when I move, stop, and turn left, I'm using the major system by the way, and the pay system. If you guys haven't learned about this already, I do recommend that you learn this. I have a Discord server where I basically have my own set of pay system and major system that you can try to memorize. I think my system's really easy and it's straightforward, but you can just listen to this, do the official, or memorize the official pay system, major system that was provided on Google or Wikipedia or something like that. But basically, 6 is associated with the Grinch walk. Okay? And so he's Grinch walking, right? And basically this is it's almost Christmas. But basically the Grinch is walking, right? And as he's walking, that's number 6, he stops because there's a wall here out of nowhere, right? Basically maybe something from the human surface, they threw something that went penetrate through the ceiling and hit the floor in front of Plankton. So he's like, oh, let me stop. So that's 6 point. So point is the point of him stopping. Right? 6.63. So he's walking again like a Grinch. So that's what indicates 6 again. And then 3, which is associated with mouth, is basically him tripping over the table and falling and slamming his mouth onto the side of the table. So that's 6.63. Now, what's the next step? Well, he is basically smooching the table, and he basically moves his mouth so he can push the table, get back in the same position. And in order to do that, I think of it as expressing an exponential amount of power associated with doing stuff like that. It's like a Superman push, really, right? Or I don't know. It's really hard to do stuff like that. So I think of it as 6.63, but then times 10 to the blank. What is blank? Basically, negative 34 was when he basically smooched and came back. Right? And when he came back, I think of it as a negative charge, a negative number, because he's like kind of reverting back into the same position. So that's a negative number. So negative 34. So he uses mouse, right? So that's 3 back. And then tinfoil was placed on his head by machines, by her friend, I forgot the machine's name. Basically, the machine placed the tinfoil on his head for good luck. Okay. And tinfoil is associated with 1 before. So 6.63 times 10 to the negative 34. I am hoping that that's correct. If you want to check, you can. Yes, 6.63 times 10 to the negative 34. This is rounded off though. Okay. And so he has tinfoil. He's like, okay, time to find the Krusty Krab scoring line. So he's leaving his chum bucket building. Okay, he leaves this way, right? And he's trying to get to the Krusty Krab space. So he can steal the secret formula. Okay. And as he's trying to steal the secret formula, as he comes outside, right, there's actually some random things going on. Actually, on his way to Krusty Krab, he notices that there's Ed, and Eddie. Okay. And they are people from a cartoon. Okay, Ed, and Eddie. I guess I don't really have to search it up. But basically, Ed, and Eddie is a TV show back a few years ago. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty popular back when I was younger. But basically, Ed and Eddie's chilling, right? He's probably smoking weed or something, okay? And SpongeBob, being the weirdo he is, was testing an electric gun. He's so weird. SpongeBob's a weirdo. But basically, he's testing out an electric gun. Right? He's shooting he's shooting somewhere. He's shooting random. He's like, what does this do? So he starts shooting an electric voltage, right? He starts shooting something. And as he's shooting the electric gun, it basically bounces off of a mirror and then goes towards Plankton's hat. Remember Plankton's hat is a tinfoil? Well, that tinfoil basically was kind of reflected the electricity on towards Ed. Okay, Ed and Eddie was chilling, right? And now Ed basically experienced a voltage shock. And so the next formula is voltage is equal to Ed, ED, right? So voltage is equal to ED, right? And so as electricity surged through Ed, you can see that his shirt basically flew out, right? And something surprising was something is seen. Actually, Ed is actually ripped. So when his shirt was ripped out due to the electricity, you can see his muscles. He has a six-pack, pecs, biggest biceps ever. He's like, who did that to me? Okay? And so as a result of that electric shock, we're going to go through the next formula called electric field. So basically, Ed has an electric field, right? And the electric field is surrounding him, right? In an epic fashion. Okay? And as he is walking with the electric field, right? The electric field is equal to force over charge. And how do we remember that? Well, basically you can imagine Ed is basically pulling force. He's pulling force towards him so that he can maintain the electric field around him. So the force of the electric field is contained around his body. Okay? He's like, and he's walking slowly, right? And then he tripped. Ed is a clumsy guy. He tripped over something. He tripped over a charged molecule. Because we know that, well, actually, I don't know for sure, but multiple charges probably interfere with the electric field somehow. So electric field is equal to force over the charge because he fell over the charge, dissipating the electric field. Okay? And then what happens next? So he fell down, he's on the floor, he's in prone position, right? He looks to his left. He's like, oh, I'm in pain. And then something's coming at him. The person that's coming at him is the Ice Princess. And if you look at the movie Ice Princess, it's basically a girl who is attempting to go to MIT to study more physics probably as a physicist. But before that, she's in undergrad, she's studying physics, and she's testing her ice skating skills, right? And so, being the person she is in a surprising manner, she basically was skating toward Ed and decapitated his head. The reason for this is because she may have had osteoporosis. She might have osteoporosis, causing the bones into legs to break. Now, why does osteoporosis have a meaning here? Well, basically, we're thinking about osmotic pressure. Okay, so placing pressure on her skates to penetrate through Ed's head to decapitate him, but at the same time, she has osteoporosis. So, the bones in her legs broke, and she placed immense pressure onto Ed's head, decapitated him. This is done in order for her to really get into MIT. Really get into MIT. So osmotic pressure, which is symbolized as I, is equal to capital R MIT. That is osmotic pressure. Okay, that's osmotic pressure. Now what happens next? Well, if I can, okay, so decapitation. Remember to keep decapitation happens. And Plankton actually saw that happening. He's like, ew, what is happening right in front of my house? This is done in order for her to really get into MIT. Really get into MIT. So osmotic pressure, which is symbolized as I, is equal to capital R MIT. That is osmotic pressure. Okay, that's osmotic pressure. Now what happens next? Well, if I can, okay, so decapitation. Remember to keep decapitation happens. And Plankton actually saw that happening. He's like, ew, what is happening right in front of my house? There's so much blood on the floor. I need to get rid of this. How do I get rid of this? All these people dying. Well, I'm going to press this button on my house. And this button on my house will indicate what Plankton is saying. Plankton is going to push a button at his house so that buoyancy force will be activated. And so as a result of buoyancy force activating, you can imagine the pressure at the bottom in water. We're in water, remember that. And these people are submerged in water. So the density of the water and the volume in which the people are submerged in plays a role in the buoyancy force. The buoyancy force is equal to density multiplied by the volume being submerged multiplied by, oh my goodness, gravity. Gravity is always important consideration. Okay, gravity, density, volume. Multiplied down to each other, and it's going to equal buoyancy. Okay? And so you can imagine all of this blood people will be basically flown into the air. But wouldn't Plankton be the first to fly into the air? Well, actually he was wearing metal boots, so he could prepare himself to press that. So the metal boots allowed him to stay in the bottom of the bikini bottom. Okay? And so he turns off the buoyancy force. The volume in which the people are submerged in plays a role in the buoyancy. There's so much blood on the floor. I need to get rid of this. How do I get rid of this? All these people dying. Well, I'm just going to press this button on my house. And this button on my house will indicate, well, Tectum is saying, Tectum is going to push a button at his house so that buoyancy force will be activated. And so as a result of buoyancy force activating, you can imagine the pressure at the bottom in depth in water. We're in water, remember that. And these people are submerged in water. So the density of the water and the volume in which the people are submerged in plays a role in the buoyancy force. The buoyancy force is equal to density multiplied by the volume being submerged multiplied by, oh my goodness, do I remember? Oh, gravity. Gravity is always important consideration. Okay? Gravity, density, volume. Multiplied down to each other, and it's going to equal buoyancy. Okay? And so you can imagine all this blood people will be basically flown into the air. But what about Plankton? Wouldn't Plankton be the first to fly into the air? Well, actually he was wearing metal boots, so he could prepare himself to press that button. So the metal boots allowed him to stay in the bottom of the bikini bottom. Okay? And so he turns off the buoyancy force just because, and then he walks towards Krusty Krab as he planned to get that secret formula. So he goes into Krusty Krab, which is shown here, right? And as he goes into Krusty Krab, you're gonna notice. You probably remember the inside of Krusty Krabs, where a cashier is over there, there's a menu over here, and he's going to ask, take your order. Now, who's the actor here? I'm using Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is an actor, a pretty famous movie actor, right? He's saying, may I take your order? And Plankton said, sure, what do you have on the menu? And Mel Gibson said, I have two options for you. I can provide you free energy, right? One that is normal and one that is standard. Hence, Gibbs free energy. Gibbs free energy can be in two forms. The normal one, which is enthalpy minus temperature multiplied by the change in entropy, or standard Gibbs free energy is equal to negative RT ln, so that's natural law, multiplied by equilibrium constant. Now I'm not looking at these formulas, I'm saying this on my head because this memory journey is actually helpful. And so how I remember this is that Mel Gibson provided two choices. He explains to Plankton that there's two options, and he's going to explain them. One option is for him to provide free energy that is standard, and standard free energy is basically telling Plankton to basically go on his phone and to retweet, hence RT, retweet the line of coke production that Mel Gibson has. So 9 ln, coke production. Coke is a K in coke, right? So that's equilibrium constant. And so we have that, and Mel Gibson said, but be careful. Even though this gives free energy is really strong that I will provide you, this is an illegal action that you'll be doing. It's illegal, but you'll get the good stuff. Okay. And then Plankton said, what's the other option? Well, he said, I'm going to give you normal, I can give you normal, give free energy, it's kind of lame. Basically, I'm going to give you this spirit bomb, right? Basically, give free energy is basically a shape of a spirit bomb, as shown in Goku, right? In Dragon Ball Z, Goku has a spirit bomb that can destroy anything. But basically, the spirit bomb, the normal gives free energy. He said that he's just going to give Plankton a normal gives free energy in which the spirit bomb can easily dissipate in energy. So you can imagine Gibson just giving them free energy, and that free energy dissipates. So it's so weak. And why is it so weak? Because it's spontaneous. And if Gibbs free energy is spontaneous, that means entropy is being increased by a big load. So basically he's trying to explain to Plankton that I could give you this spirit bomb that has a lot of spontaneity, but that's a bad thing. Okay, it's going to be useful to you. Sometimes a retweet for me. Okay, retweet for me and the standard gives free energy. So the illegal activity of the standard gives free energy is what makes it negative. So negative RT ln equilibrium constant. Okay. So like I said, okay, let me retweet you. Give me 1 second. Alright, it's illegal activity. Alright, so he has the almighty Gibbs free energy, the spirit bomb. Alright, he's holding the spirit bomb, okay? He's going outside, back to home, so that he can try to look into the spirit bomb and see if there's a flame in there. Okay? And as he's going home, Krusty Krab, so Eugene Krabs, the owner of Krusty Krabs, basically came up in front of him, used his hook to grab onto the spirit bomb and says, not so fast, Plankton. And then he checked out, I'm going to steal this from you because it may have a secret formula. So, he's looking at the spirit bomb, and he said, no, what are you doing? This is mine, I did my deed to get this. But Eugene Krabs looks at it. He says, whoa, this is stretchy. Why is it stretchy? He's grabbing it with a hook. So this is Hooke's law. Okay? And Hooke's law is equal to the distance of the actual springy spirit bomb. So the spirit bomb can imagine to be kind of stretchy, like springy. So if we pull it apart and let go, it's going to fly forward really quickly. And so this is what Eugene is doing. He pulls the spirit bomb. He lifts upwards, and then he releases it. Basically releases it. Okay? And it flew away. Back up to where Farrah was at. So Farrah's over here, right? Farrah, the spirit bomb went back up here, and basically came back, went into the teleporter, and destroyed everyone in their face. Killing, hence K. And remember that I said that the teleporter is associated with negative energy? So basically, Hooke's formula is negative K times X. X is the distance of the actual spirit bomb, and then when we let go, ball goes up into the teleporter, indicating negative sign, killing everyone, hence K. So negative K X is equal to Hooke's law. That is a whole memory journey. That is cycled back, cycled forward, but I can also reverse it backwards. So remember that there's Hooke's law going back down to the bikini bottom, right? Where Eugene Krabs did the hook. If you want to reverse this backwards, you can. So you go back into Krusty Krab. I can ask for those two types of free energy. And you can imagine going back again, pressing on the buoyancy force button, right? So that Ed can not get decapitated. Remember the iceberg test? Also Colossus, oxygen pressure. Ed is basically not decapitated, but he's husky, right? Remember he's walking husky with electric field, right? And voltage is also equal to, let's see, so electric field is equal to the force that he grabs onto over the charge that he tripped over, right? And before that, right, voltage is equal to Ed, ED. And then before the electric gun shot is to hit Ed. You are memorizing the Planck's constant, where Plankton is walking down his drum bucket place, and right here, he's walking, remember the Planck's constant where he stops 6 6 again. So 6.63 times 10 to the negative 34. And then reverse. He was screaming at Pharaoh, saying, "Hey, good job! You unlocked Hell's Fire, HF, full of energy, right?" And so he's able to do that. Okay. And then reverting even further back, before this actually happened, remember the card was being split, right? And I grabbed the card, Pharaoh grabbed the card. Before I grabbed the card was being split by Genji. Right? Genji was split with the sword, right? And as he split with the sword, we are looking at the index of refraction, where we have speed of the speed of the card in light, speed of light, versus the speed of the unknown in medium. So that's n, which is the speed, the index of refraction is equal to the speed of light just over the velocity. So I think it's v. The physical variable is v. So the speed of the unknown in medium is v. Okay. And so if we divert even further, we can think of, so before that, before Pharaoh grabbed it, and before the index of refraction, I think after the index of refraction, between that, there's the gorilla looking at the optics term. Okay. And before that, basically, oh shoot, it's not good. Okay. So Symmetra was running towards that way, so very bad. He dodged Bane, right? As he dodged Bane, Bane comes back to here. He did some elastic collision with Superman. But before that, he was doing static push on the skateboard, right? And then before that, he was unleashing his powers, right? All that power formula and eternal energy, and then getting poked to death, right? And then she comes back up and with energy mine. She's basically working up there, where she's also demonstrating work over here. She's saying work, she's beyond, right? She comes back up here, and now she comes back up here. We want to notice that Foreground is looks around. This is why aren't you looking at him? Because Foreground was basically trying to use his wrench to go through the Tracer's abdomen to twist, right? And that will indicate not Huck's law, but I'm not sure why I don't remember this right now. Oh, work, because Foreground wanted to Tracer to keep working, but Tracer was like, I'm in pain, right? And then Tracer back up here, getting flown. She was flown, right? There's gravitational force over here. And she comes back over here. Right, she's over here, basically slams his bell, representing some centripetal force. Before that, we were looking at F equals NA, so force equals mass times acceleration, and testing her abilities to hit the bell that actually injured her, and then back to where we are at step 1, which is kinematics motion. That was a long memory journey, but basically, I memorize this forwards and backwards. I do recommend memorizing even from the middle of the journey. So, like for example, we can think of Ed being the person who got electrocuted, where the voltage is Ed, and then he's in the field, he's going to move forward, and doing that thing. And if you practice your memory journeys forwards and backwards, you'll understand your own past life. Because you made it on your, if you made your own memory palace, you probably will remember better. Because everything I know is definitely not something that we know. Or I can't, we could know everything I know, right? It's the responsibility. And yeah, so that's basically my whole memory journey. I hope you enjoyed. If you are following this journey.
Alright, so that was a pretty long video, but very worthwhile to listen to. If you guys don't know already, I made the video. You can look at the video again in my previous videos. I did skip a few concepts, but essentially I kind of gone over every single portion. So right now, what I'm doing is placing each equation that I've memorized in that memory palace in a linear sequence. So I'm putting this in order. So first we start off with F is equal to ma. We got centripetal force, a centripetal acceleration. We have gravitational force. Okay. After gravitational force, there's torque, and after torque, there's work. Is equal to F d cosine theta. Okay. Okay. We also have work is equal to 1/2 mv. Actually, we'll just say kinetic energy. We're going to say work is also equal to pressure multiplied by the change in V, volume. Okay, after that, the next thing that occurs is power, which is equal to IV also equal to I squared over R is equal to V Okay, so I'm a little confused right now because I feel like this is getting smaller and smaller. Yep, it's getting really small and I can't undo it. So I'm going to decide to make a new column, a new row. So power is also equal to so this is something I should probably look up right now. Power is, because I'm not 100% sure about that. I know that Bane, Batman's enemy, used power, right? In which, IV is used, and then there's two currents, right? Over resistance. But maybe there was a lot of resistance to the point that, I think maybe it's supposed to be switched up, but I need to resistance and voltage. V Okay, so I am actually very confused. This is multiplied to each other. And then this. I hope that is right. Yes, it is. Okay, so there may have been an issue, or maybe I didn't pay attention to the video, but if I recall correctly, in the memory palace we have Widowmaker dying. Okay, after Widowmaker dies, we're gonna experience Bane being angry, and he's gonna use IV medications so that he can power up. Okay, and then he's going to use two swords that has currents, and he's going to kill them. Right, kill these people with resistance, which makes sense. But the next part is for him to use two voltages, right? Those two voltages are actually pretty powerful. Actually, it's not weak at all. Actually, okay, so voltages are huge, actually, over resistance though. So the thing is that instead of shocking the individuals, he's actually forming a dome-like voltage shield around all of the people who were fighting him. Okay, so he's putting this all over them so that there's not much resistance, and so that's what makes this logical. The thing is that I've made a memory palace that was specifically set already, but now I may have to change it up a little bit. But it was only this part. Okay, so after that, this was next. And so I pretty much have every single formula here. In fact, I probably should just delete that and just type it out instead of... So gravitational force is equal to gravity multiplied by radius plus radius. I'm sorry. Do I not know this? So I know that Tracer was in the air, and then we noticed that there's gravitational effect with Tracer to the Earth. In addition to that, we have radius of Tracer and radius of the Earth, but I think that's in the denominator. So what is in this section here? That's a very good question. Would it be velocity? No. Let's figure this out before I search it up. What would make sense in gravitational force? Would we try to multiply or add? I'm thinking that we should add something. Oh, I think I know. We're adding the mass. Yes. Okay, so now I do remember. We're adding the mass of Tracer versus the mass of the actual Earth, divided by the radius of both Tracer and the Earth, which is just r squared. So to make sure, I will just force. So it did take me a bit of time to remember this, but that's just because it's been a long time since I've gone through the memory palace. It's actually been a whole month, and I should have gone through this at least once a week. All it takes is like 10 minutes of meditation to go through all of this. And I'm going to, I'm going to make another video in which, we will be meditating so that we can get all of these memory palaces secured. Alright, so to make it easier on me, I'm going to probably...
The other part is going to show you.
Okay, so I'm going to place the link over here for you guys. Alright, so that was the physics memory palace. That was a lot, but I did spend 2 whole days making that memory palace, actually. I was very impressed with myself. I mean, that was actually a lot of formulas. And I can easily recall any of that piece of information easily. And so, I'm happy about it. Okay, so now we have the sleep stages.
As the sleep stages, as well as their waves and features. Now, I made up an elaborate...
So, what I'm going to do right now is probably get something to eat. I'm just going to leave this video on for you guys. I'll be back in around 2 minutes just to get some snacks. This is one of my favorite memory palaces, actually. So I recommend for you guys to look through this, listen, and because the sleep stages are probably one of the most important aspects in the MCAT to remember. And in medical school in general, you should probably get a good sense of what each of these stages are about.
A memory palace that can help us memorize the dreams sleep stages. So first stage involves being awake, okay? And the memory palace that I'm going to use is Popeyes, right? Popeyes is a place that sells chicken, right? Chicken and mashed potatoes and whatnot. I went into a Popeyes store recently, and I pretty much got the place set as a memory palace. This is not the exact place, but it's kind of similar. Yeah, so this is what you're going to be looking at. Anyways, in this memory palace, I enter the room from here, right? I enter basically the building from here, walking forward, getting into line, okay? And as I got into line, the air conditioner on the right, it doesn't show an air conditioner, but an air conditioner up here is it looks like it's a little bit broken. It doesn't seem like it's working well. It looks rusty too. And out of nowhere, bats came out. Bats came out of the air conditioner, and it freaked out everybody. Everyone looked at the bats and started screaming, right? And as that was happening, Grinch, the person who stole Christmas, Grinch walked into the store and says, "Bah humbug." Now, something to remember here is bah, B-A, okay? Everyone is scared, meaning everyone is conscious. Everyone is awake. So this is the stage where you're awake, okay? And as Grinch says bah humbug, it should remind you of bah. I mean, you should emphasize the word bah, in which it is beta and alpha in the same stage. So beta and alpha are activated in the wake stage, right? This will allow us to perceive, access information that we see in our surroundings, okay? And then after that occurs, a lightning strike occurs in this place. A lightning strike occurs just straight down so that we actually get into light sleep, hence lightning. Okay, so this is the first stage where we have theta waves. So theta thunder. Okay, as a result of lightning. Okay, lightning, light sleep. Second stage. This is a little bit funny, maybe. So basically, in the second stage, you can imagine a taxi cab. This T for theta, T for taxi. Driving through the front, right? The front of the store, and it kind of crashes through the store, but slowly because we're still sleeping. Okay? A taxi cab is going through slowly, and a mime came out of the taxi cab, right? The mime is like doing this. He's like trying to. He's using like spindles of what are those cat cradle spindle strings, right? He's trying to do this, right? And what makes you kind of remember it better is that he's kind of like slicing the heads of some of the people who are asleep in that building with those really stringy spindles, okay? He's like slicing the heads. So he's kind of a mass murderer. This is incongruent. This is something that you'll probably remember. Just imagine using those spindles, and that's a feature, right? Sleep spindles, and then K complexes in that at the same time this is occurring, there is a kill cam on him. Okay, there is a kill cam on him. So kill K cam complexes. The reason why there's a kill cam on him is because he's actually killing people in that building, and so. The hero is Widowmaker, okay? Widowmaker is outside the building on a skyscraper, right? He's trying to aim for the mime, right? Who's mass murdering all these people. He said, okay. So in stage 2, remember that the taxi theta comes in slowly, just so everyone's still sleeping. Use the spindles to kill everyone. But then at the same time, there's a kill cam, okay? And so in the third stage, we're going to have some delta where we're basically dreaming. going into slow wave sleep, SWS. And so this is the point where the Widowmaker snipes the mind down. Okay, that's the third step. In this third step, you can hear the Widowmaker saying, "Sweet dreams, sweet dreams, slow wave sleep, dreams, sweet dreams, mine." And so that's delta in the sense that she's saying dream. Okay, dream as in delta. Okay, sweet dreams, mine. I could make up a make him an actual actor for a mime, but I don't think that's necessary because this is a mime that actually mass murders people. So this is we could imagine him as it actually. It. Okay. Maybe he's killing only the kids. Okay. But anyways, that's the third stage. And now the fourth stage, I think we can all safely agree that we remember the last stage, which is REM sleep. I think we've heard of it throughout our whole lives. REM is mostly beta. So basically the next stage here in REM cycle, in the REM stage, is that a bulldozer actually, after Widowmaker sniped the mime down, a bulldozer came out of nowhere and slammed the Widowmaker, right? And along with Widowmaker, slammed into the building, the Popeyes building, waking everyone up. B as in bulldozer, right? And that would restart the whole cycle, where people would have to make a Popeyes store again. We go into the store awake. Bah Hamba, right? Lightning, right? Spindles, mime after the taxi comes in. Widowmakers, sniping, sweet dreams, and then bulldozer. So that's the 5 stages of the sleep stages. I hope that helps. This is my way of remembering it. I think that there were some little weird gaps between my memory palaces, but basically, the memory palace is Popeyes, and another section outside of Popeyes is a skyscraper. So I can think of probably the Twin Tower. Okay, the Twin Tower is where the Widowmaker's at. So that's far. But basically, we're just imagining Widowmaker on top of a skyscraper that's sniping down the mine. I think that's a significant amount of elaboration, enough so that we can remember it. It's exaggerated, and that the mine's killing people with these sleep spindles. I mean, it's not sleep spindles, but the cat cradling spindles, right? Widowmaker killing people. Actually, Widowmaker typically kills people. So we could imagine her using wall hacks. Okay, wall hacks, and using a kind of a sniper, but on a pistol. But yeah, you can rearrange this journey any way you want. As long as it goes through a linear sequence, you'll be able to remember these 5 stages easily. You don't have to follow everything that I'm saying right now, but if you kind of use it, feel free to just modify it. Instead of using Widowmaker from Overwatch, you can use Tom Cruise from Mission Impossible, because he's probably a good sniper as well. But yes. So typically in my Anki.
Alright, so that's basically the memory palace for sleep stages. Alright, next up we got the explicit versus implicit the implicit versus explicit memory. These are two different types of long-term memories, and my goal is try to recall them fast and explain what they are. So the memory class that I'm going to be using is in Counter-Strike. This is Dust 2. Dust 2 is the main map that most people actually know how to use or remember when they play Counter-Strike. This is Global Offensive. So this map is in the terror side, and so in terror side you're going to be observing this side of the place. Okay, this is called I think terrorist T-spawn. Yeah, I think it's called T-spawn. T-spawn outside of upper tunnels. Okay, so that's upper tunnel over there. So this is T-spawn. Okay, and so at T-spawn you're going to notice a person coming out here, right? So this is me, right? I'm coming out. I see a person named DD. DD is a character from Dexter's laboratory. Okay, DD came out, right? And on her left and on her right is Dexter and Mandark. Okay, they're just there for randomness. She's coming out and says, oh, hey, Dexter, hey, Mandark. That would be a declarative memory. You know that? Something you should know. You know, semantics is basically the accumulation of knowledge that users gain over time, and these are just facts. Okay? And basically, you say, oh, hey, Dexter, hey, Mandark. And then this person right here is Shaq. Okay, Shaq is DD's ex-boyfriend. Okay, she comes out, she says, hey, Dexter, hey, Mandark. And then she sees Shaq, and Shaq's on his knees saying, please marry me. And Dee said, no, you're my ex-boyfriend. I don't want to talk to you anymore. And she looked at him as if she had a traumatic experience with him. That traumatic experience can be anything that you can imagine. Okay. And so, this is Shaq. Okay. And Shaq is on his knees, and she says, you're my ex. And so that would be an example of explicit memory, right? Because she was able to recall Shaq's name, Dexter's name, Mandark's name, all around her. Right? And Shaq specifically, she called him ex-boyfriend, right? And so explicit ex-boyfriend, consciously being able to express a semantic memory. The fact that Shaq's name is Shaq. Okay? And the traumatic experience that I was mentioning is an episodic memory. So it's an event or experience that she had with Shaq that she remembers. And so it would be a form of long-term memory. Okay? And so you can imagine her facial expressions. She's like, oh, hey, Dexter. Hey, Mandark. And she looks at Shaq with terrifying eyes. Okay? And then now Shaq is like insistent on forcing Dee to marry him. Dee said, no, leave me alone. And so she runs off, right? She kicks his ball, and she starts to grab this tire, right? And this tire actually has pedals on it, right? And so she's like kind of on it, like a unicycle. I forget what those kind of one tire bicycle things are called. But basically, she basically was able to travel faster with this tire with a pedal on it. Okay, she's like in the circus act, right? She's going really fast, getting away from Shaq, right? She goes towards, tries to go around to get to upper tunnels so she can escape to B. But the thing is that as she's going right here, right? She's going. This car right here suddenly activated like a Tesla, and then drove forward really fast, hitting Dee. Dee falls down. Everyone starts crying, right? Shaq's like, no, she's dead. She's losing so much blood. And suddenly she comes back up. Why is that? Well, she's actually immortal. She's a vampire, and because she's immortal, we can think so. Immortal has two letters in it. The first two letters being I-M, and that's implicit, right? And immortality doesn't have to be anything with implicit memory. Actually, it can be. If the body has a procedural memory to just regenerate whenever it just has dying cells. But that's something for you to maybe remember if you like that better. But basically, when Dee was grabbing onto this, right, and using it as a pedal, using it to travel faster, that's a procedural memory. Right? She learned how to do this before, and she learned how to do it permanently. Okay, even if she was very dumb, she still had the procedural memory to be able to do this. Okay, and she'll go over, get hit by the car, and as it turns out, everyone found out that she's immortal, and hence implicit procedural memory. So there's a linear sequence, but at the same time, it's a little off. But if you follow the sequence carefully, from the beginning where she mentioned her ex, so Shaq, you can explicitly just imagine Shaq, right? Imagine Shaq, imagine her saying his name, and a traumatic experience. So episodic memory, semantic memory, declarative memory, explicit memory. So the next stage is for her to do an action that is involved with, procedural memory, but she basically not died, but she got hit by a car really hard, enough for any human being to die. She's immortal. Implicit, immortal, procedural, bam. I know this is a very elaborative story, but from my experience, I actually forgot implicit versus explicit many times. I tried to reason it out, but I couldn't figure out how to recall or immediately recognize that explicit memory is actually declarative memory. So I have to use this memory policy. You can use this memory policy as well if you're experienced with CSGO. So that's my story. And okay, so that was That was the memory palace used to help you memorize which subcategories, which, like for example, would semantic memory be considered implicit or explicit memory? This is indeed tested on the MCAT. And I took the time into making a memory palace just for this, even though it is a little bit intuitive. It is intuitive, actually. So just doing this memory palace was a little, it was not that useful, but it is better than not doing anything about it, because I did in fact get the question wrong on one of my practice exams, and I did want to emphasize on it. Okay, so the next part is the 7 universal emotions. Now, this is also an intuitive aspect, but at the same time, the MCAT is a little tricky, actually. They might state an emotion that seems to be a universal emotion, but it's not really. Like, probably love. I think love is not a universal emotion. Let me check. Love is not. Yes. So I think one of the answer choices was love, and I actually chose it. Yeah. So I took the time into making a memory palace for it. If you do want to know, I will actually tell the story. So at my house, at my old house actually, we went into my basement. I went into my basement actually. I walked down the basement stairs, and I was surprised when people from my middle school was actually partying in my basement. So, surprise. Okay. So that's the first one. And then the next part is that I fell down the stairs while walking down the stairs. So I felt pain. So I felt sad. I felt pain, so I was sad. Okay. But everyone were chill and happy at the bar, drinking shots. So happy. Okay. And then I walked towards Kevin. Kevin is a bully of mine from middle school. He's not bully now. It's middle school. But anyways, Kevin did something very disturbing. He placed cats into my laundromat machine and turned it on. It made me very angry. I'm sorry, that was very dark. Not safe for work. I'm sorry. But it was kind of like it had to be an exaggerated scene for me to remember it. So first I was surprised, okay, that everyone was actually down there partying. I was sad that I fell down the stairs, hitting my knee. And then, despite being sad and falling down, nobody noticed. Everyone was still chilling at the bar, drinking shots. They're happy. And then I came to Kevin, where I was pretty angry. Now the next part is that okay, so I'm not sure if disgust is this 7 universal emotions. I think this is disgust oh yeah, it is. Okay. Alright. So disgust is also an emotion. And what I said here exactly is that after I felt angry about Kevin putting the cat into my laundry machine. So afterwards I opened the laundry machine, and I noticed that there's a lot of blood, fur everywhere dispersed around the laundry machine, and it kind of spilled out the laundry machine as I opened the door. So I felt disgust. Okay, and specifically this is called happiness. I don't think that matters, but disgust. Okay, I ran into the closet, the walk-in closet in my basement, for some peace of mind. Okay, I noticed a small girl in the corner of the room in fear because she was actually hurt. I don't know how she was hurt, but she was content. I asked her if she wanted to go home, but she said no. Very content. So these are set 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, that's 6. What am I missing? Oh, fear. Where's my fear? So I missed out on fear here. So the fear aspect will be the fact that okay, my fear is that the little girl is going to kill everyone in the room because she is holding a knife. And that's the whole storyline. I think this is pretty easy to remember, even despite not knowing the story, but it's better to just have a story just in case. It's like a backup plan, really. But I mean, it should be your main plan. And I don't know about you guys. I mean, I'm sure you guys could do the same, but when I go through memory palaces, I can fast forward very fast in the memory palace. So I can get from the beginning of the physics story to the end in just a matter of like 2 minutes. And that's a lot of formulas, by the way. So what I'm trying to say is that you're able to fast forward in any memory palace. So that means people argue that memory palaces are useless because they kind of require you some time to actually pick up the pieces of information in the journey in the memory palace. I disagree. You can fast forward that linear sequence immediately. Okay, so the next part is the anatomical cuts. So there's sagittal cuts, coronal cuts, there's transverse cuts. I think many of us probably know already that transverse cuts are horizontal, so probably not necessary to make a memory palace for that. You also know about the transverse colon. That's probably what triggered some of you guys to remember that transverse is horizontal already. I use a phone cricket store as my memory palace for this, where Jason Mraz is singing "I'm Yours" to the cash register. She was so happy, but unfortunately, yeah, stuff happened, and I don't want to say the story because it's really, really graphic. But what is a sagittal cut? Well, it's going to be I think it's just, yeah, it's a cut going through you like a knife going straight to up and down you. So I don't know how to explain this. Let me just type it in just to show you guys. Maybe I can just put in the I'll put in the image instead of typing it down, because there you go. This is perfect. I know that's just a small piece of information that requires me to recall, but I feel like there's no way for me to just say what are these and what are that. Okay. Early embryogenesis. Zygote, morula, trophoblast with embryo seal, sorry, embryoblast. Just in case, I do want to probably look up information on this, on early embryogenesis. Just in case. my my solid advice for Anki and before was that you know, people should be making simple Anki cards, but now my opinion on how to use Anki is a little different now, because of the new memory techniques that I've learned. From now on, I probably will use Anki cards less and less, and just only use it for big pieces of information, and all the small pieces of information will be probably just blunt force stuff, because all of this I knew without, you know, looking around. Well, I mean I wanted to make sure that I was correct, and then I can go over this again through my journey after I finish this. So after, you know, zygotes form for fertilization, we're going to have blastulation, gastrulation, and then neurulation. After neurulation, I don't know what happens, but I do need to know about, you know, somites, etc. So, one second. I think this is all that I've learned in my memory palace. I will add more. That's why this is just called early embryogenesis. Okay, so now we have I'm going to go through this story with you, doctor's office with pyrimidines and purines, just to help me remember what's happening, but also to help you kind of figure out what's happening. I mean, okay, so the thing that you probably have to know before I tell you the story is that this doctor's office is really small. It has a chair for the patient. It has a bed right beside the patient. The doctor's right in front of the patient. There's a weight scale right behind the bed, and then there's a chair in the back, and then right beside the chair in the back is a door. That's all you need to know. And so in this doctor's office, there's going to be several actors, actresses. I'm going to tell you them. So Soldier 76 is from Overwatch, and he's at the front, okay? And he's at front of the doctor's office, and he's saying, "I got my sights on you." He's like ulting everyone, okay? So this will indicate cytosine, okay? Alright, and the doctor will hit his head with an otoscope saying, "Stop nincompoop," which indicates NH2. You know what? It's probably a good idea for me to just pyrimidine versus purines. So the cytosine, we're going to have NH2 at the top. That's what differentiates it from the others. The next part is the Widowmaker. Widowmaker on the bed was watching a Soldier 76 and was blushing because, you know, Soldier 76 is obviously hot, I guess. So she turned around. And then, you know, the Soldier 76 felt pleased, right? And so he received, so his arm, you know, went up, and then he fell. So let's see. So this is indicating thiamine. Oh crap. What's happening? Let's see. See, I've noticed that the methyl group is on the right side and it's also on the left side. That's really confusing. That's really confusing. Fifth position because 5 represents L from the major system, and so he took an L. That means he fell. Gabriel is on the weight scale, and on the weight scale, yeah, Gabriel is an angel from the anime show Angel Gabriel or something like that. So basically, the weight scale with the height scale will touch our head, right? So that's what indicate that. So Angel for adenine, okay, and Angel NH2, okay, will be at the top. But to make sure, we should check that adenine's on the top. Just like that. It's on the 6th position. The next part is cytosine. I'm sorry, it's not cytosine. Guanosine. See, now I'm getting a little mixed up because some of these atoms are kind of reversed, so I have to keep note of the numbers. So Gaara from Naruto is on the chair in the back. He's protecting everyone with his gourd. The gourd is in the position to his back right side, so the back right side will be right here. So NH2, second position, back right. Okay. O at 6th position, top. The reason why the O is in the 6th position on the top is because the gourd, has, I think of like the actual Naruto character is inside the gourd, right? So back right side, so the 2nd position, and then the O, which is basically the opening of the gourd, at the top. So behind him there's a gourd that's facing to the right, right here, to the back, right, and then the opening will be on the top. Okay, and he's protecting everyone with the sand in that gourd. And it's a little weird that he stands like a Grinch still. And he stands like a Grinch as well. And so these are the 4 different types. But we should kind of acknowledge that Uracil is included as well. And Uracil is, I think, similar to thiamine. It just doesn't have a methyl group. So I'm going to put that somewhere. I'll just type in the end. Uracil like thiamine, but no methyl group. I could add another actor in the room. I could add that the receptionist, right? The receptionist would enter the room and saw the sand that's probably in her face. Actually, yes, we can do that. No, forget it. I think it's easy to remember this anyways. And of course, I'm going to go through all these memory palaces tomorrow. Spermatogenesis, and I'll just type in spermatogenesis. Spermatogonia. You know what? I'm going to probably input the picture, the image, instead of typing it out. Gotta make sure it's correct. Germ cell diploid, mitosis diploid. That's a little confusing. I'm going to disregard that. That's much better, but not exactly what I'm looking for. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Spermatogonian will form a primary spermatocyte through mitosis, and then meiosis 1 will indicate primary spermatocyte into secondary spermatocyte. Okay, and then meiosis 2 will be from secondary spermatocyte to spermatids. Spermatids will form sperm or spermatozoa. This is good. And if we look at this right now, oogonia to primary oocyte, so mitosis, and then meiosis 1 would have secondary oocyte as well as the first polar body. The second polar body will be formed in meiosis 2. Okay, and we're gonna have this will be a mature ovum. Ah, wait, I thought it would be a mature ovum. So it would be an ootid and then an ovum. Okay. I'm gonna feed my cats some stuff. So this is a very good image. Actually, I'll probably add in the actual oogenesis as well. Yeah, I like that. Alright. Next up we have sarcomas. Alright, so alright, let's do this. I'm going to just recall this from the top of my head. So the common sarcomas are sarcoma. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Osteosarcoma. This is bone sarcoma. From rhabdomyosarcoma. What's next? Malignant, fibrous, histiocytoma from adipocyte and skeletal muscle? I want to check that out actually. Malignant, fibrous, I need to check that out actually, because there's different informations here, but there's also different information from my professor. I'm pretty sure there was adipocyte as well, but I'm not seeing this anywhere here. I see it's a soft tissue and bone, and the soft tissue can represent either adipocyte or the fibrous tissue. See, it's like, see, bone cancer. So it's also bone too. That's a lot of information. I have to check that out. Alright, so it just says adipocyte and muscle cell. I'm gonna say bone too. Okay, what's next? So fibrosarcoma, I'm assuming. Let me check. Yep, fibrosarcoma is from fibroblast, connective tissue. Angiosarcoma from endothelial cells. Is it cells? Yeah, endothelial cells. Specifically, we'll just say lining of blood vessels. Okay, the last one will be chondrosarcoma from chondrocytes? Yes, I think chondrocytes. There's another piece of information that I should be adding in here. I forgot. Oh. Well, chondrocytes are from cartilage-forming cells. Yeah, that's right. Alright. Here we go, family guy. Family Guy. Common hematopoietic malignancies. So lymphoma, leucosarcoma. Sorry, I just added random words. Leukemia. Is that right? Let me check. Yeah, it is right. Cool. What's the answer? Oh, just myeloma. Anything else I'm missing? Nope, that's it. That was a little difficult for me to remember, just because this was a pretty symmetrical train that I was in. So the hint would be VR train. Alright. Neuroectodermal malignancies. Alright, let's see if I can recall this. So, we start off with Barry Allen with Astro Boy. So, what does Barry Allen do? Glioblastoma multiforme. Is that right? Let me see. Wait, what? Is that not right? Oh, it is right. Glioblastoma multiforme. From highly progressed astrocytoma. That was a long one. Okay, so astrocytoma from sites of origin. Astrocytes, which is a type of glial cells. What's next? Dude, I don't know how to spell schwannoma. But schwannoma from Schwann cells. Alright, I give up. Let's see, how do you spell it? Okay, so actually, schwannoma from Schwann cells around axons. Okay, next one would be Cyclops with Ron from Harry Potter. Retinoblastoma from retina, right? From cones of retina. Neuroblastoma? This next one. So Gohan, neuroblastoma from peripheral nervous system, turned around. As a result, saw Bulma operating on Chi-Chi with a shoe and a pen. Ependymoma. Oh, I got it. Appendimama. But with an A. No, wait, it's with an E. I was right. Cool. Appendimama from ventricles of the brain. Well, specifically, cells lining ventricles of the brain. But I got the gist of it. Okay, and the next one is oligodendroma. Dendroglioma. Okay, so that's a little hard. I knew it was oligodendroma, but I didn't know glio was a part of it. So so we're gonna have to remember Denden getting a frog in a gleeful way, in a very happily way, from dendrocytes, right? Oh, sorry. So sorry. Oligodendrocytes covering axons. Next up we have what would be next? I can't remember actually. I'm trying my best to remember. Kaneki Suyama in the bath. And what's next? Oh. Meningioma. From meninges. Well, arachnoidal cells of next we have the last one should be what's the last one? Granular cells of the cerebellum? No. How about granuloma? Nope. So Goofy is operating on Donald Duck. Donald Duck has abnormal vital functions, okay? And so this will indicate medullary abnormalities. And so Goofy is going to blast fire into him, so that his vital functions are going to be restored. And as he's standing up, he's showing his grand finale, but he lost his balance, which indicates cerebellum. So this is why medulloblastoma from granular cells of the cerebellum. Read the right answer. So this is quite a few. Okay. So adenoma, not adenoids. Okay. Sorry. Assuming that's it. Yep. Oh no, I'm wrong. It's just fibrosarcoma. Easier than I thought. I got this wrong. It was hemangioma. Hemangiosarcoma. Armin comes in. This involves the lymphatic lymphoma. Oh no, it's not. Okay. Lymphangioma. Lymphansarcoma. Oh shoot. Geosarcoma. Lymphatic lymph vessels. Alright, that was a lot. Okay. No, sorry. Oh. Okay. Scleroderm. Dermatome. And probably mesoderm, no? Oh, myotome. Ooh, did I get this all right? Sternum corneum, lucidum, granulosum, spinosum, basale. Basale! Alright, now the description is the hard part. Let me see if I got this. Corneum. I don't know, it's just the outside surface. Just say outer surface. Soles of feet and palms. Thick. Let's say laden. Hey, what you guys doing? You guys turned off my thing. What are you guys doing, man? Alright. Futurama. Called papillary layer? Yeah, it is. Reticular layer. I mean, that's it, really. Let's name them. No record, Brachio, mesoderm, what else? Intermediate mesoderm, lateral plate mesoderm, head mesenchyme. Alright. So I was able to recall this pretty fast. Record placed in the middle of mesoderm. Full of somites. Urinary and reproductive systems, cardiovascular system, and facial musculature. That was easy. I recalled this pretty quickly. Jeez. Okay. Simpsons VR. No, sorry. Simpsons house. Four major types of tissue growth. So first one would be hypertrophy. Next one would be, let's see, description. I'll say criteria. Hypertrophy, neoplasia, dysplasia, hyperplasia. Okay, so hypertrophy, organized plus larger cell. Next one, neoplasia, increase in cell numbers plus disorganized. Next one, disorganized plus, oh, that's it, that's disorganized. Increase in cell numbers plus organized. To make sure, I'm just going to look at this. I should keep in mind that it's organized growth. Finished. Next one, Jesus Christmas born. acne types. Whitehead, blackhead, sorry. I should do this in proper order. Blackhead, whitehead, papule, nodule, pustule, cyst, am I missing anything? Let me check. Nope. This is everything. Alright. You hungry? Come on. Milo, come here, eat this. Alright guys, I finally finished. Oh, that was a lot. So, that was 37 memory palaces. That's a lot. Fortunately, I went through every single one of them just now. I'm a little exhausted, but definitely worth the time. Alright, well, I'm done with memory palaces. I probably should start studying. So have a nice one, guys.